When Italy pulled its EV subsidies, their market share nearly vanished overnight. I mean, it dropped from 10% to under 6.
Right, a classic economic sugar crash.
Exactly. But next door in Belgium, EVs are absolutely thriving, making up 59% of new corporate fleet registrations.
It's a staggering difference.
It really is. Welcome to today's deep dive, where our mission is to figure out what Belgium knows that the rest of us don't. We're looking past the intimidating sticker price, pulling from strategic market reports and buyer handbooks to give you actionable clarity on whether an EV actually makes sense for your driveway or your business.
And you know, the contrast between those two countries really exposes how flawed our standard vehicle valuation is. Private consumers usually stare right at the initial purchase price.
And when a government subsidy disappears, they panic.
Exactly, they totally panic. Fleet directors, on the other hand, they operate on a completely different metric. They use total cost of ownership, or TCO.
So if subsidies are just a sugar rush, what exactly is the healthy diet these fleets are eating? Are they just getting bulk discounts, or is there something fundamentally different about how they do the math?
It's the math. I mean, the economic advantage of an EV isn't in the purchase, it's embedded in the operational life cycle.
Right.
Think about the delta in maintenance. You don't need a reminder on how gas engines work, but when you strip away the multi-gear transmissions and complex exhaust systems, the failure points just plummet.
Because there's just less to break down.
Yeah, exactly. Empirical data from a 2-year EV ownership period shows maintenance can run as low as 30 euros.
Wait, 30 euros total?
Yeah, total. That covers your basic diagnostic checks and like cabin air filters.
Wow. Plus, there are those baked-in fiscal incentives that don't just vanish. Our sources highlight that in Italy, drivers get a full 5-year exemption from their annual bollo road tax.
Right, which is huge.
And then it's followed by a permanent 75% reduction.
So when you factor in zero road tax and almost non-existent maintenance for the first few years, the TCO heavily favors the battery.
Sure, 30 euros for 2 years of maintenance and a tax break sounds fantastic in a vacuum, but aren't we ignoring the elephant in the room here?
You mean the charging?
Yeah. The second I take this car on a summer road trip and have to use public chargers, doesn't that math completely fall apart?
Well, the data absolutely supports that concern. If you hit the road without a charging subscription, those highway energy costs can spike to 81 cents per kilowatt hour.
Oh, man.
Yeah, at that rate, you are actively destroying your economic advantage. Home charging remains the absolute gold standard for preserving your TCO.
And what about when you really have to travel?
For highway travel, Tesla superchargers provide a highly reliable middle ground, even if they often require you to detour off the main route a bit.
So using high-cost public chargers without a strategy is basically like buying overpriced airport food. It's convenient in the moment, but it completely ruins your budget.
That's a perfect way to look at it. And the budget drain isn't just about the charger, it's environmental.
How so?
Real-world testing reveals that short summer trips can actually spike an EV's energy consumption by 29%.
29%, just from the ambient heat.
Yeah, because the vehicle has to expend this massive burst of energy to cool down a sun-baked cabin. On a short trip, that initial cooling effort isn't diluted over a long distance.
Meaning your overall efficiency drops dramatically.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But, even if you master the charging strategy and keep the car cool, there is still the fear of the tech itself. Battery technology is advancing so fast right now.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you avoid buying, basically a 40,000 euro smartphone that's obsolete in 2 years?
That psychological barrier,
Yeah.
the fear of making the wrong purchase, it's arguably the biggest hurdle to consumer adoption today. The financial shield against that obsolescence is long-term rental.
Okay, because by renting, you transfer the depreciation risk entirely to the provider.
Exactly. You pass the risk on.
Why would the rental provider want to take on the risk of outdated batteries, though?
Because they operate at a scale where they can absorb it. Fleet providers cycle these vehicles out, they leverage bulk tax incentives, and eventually funnel them into robust secondary markets.
So they get the volume.
And you get the efficiency gains without the capital risk. It shifts the focus from what the asset costs to the pure utility it provides.
Interesting.
That utility-first mindset is actually exactly why Waymo is importing Zikr electric minivans all the way from China, despite facing heavy import tariffs.
Wait, if you're trying to keep costs down, why pay heavy international tariffs on a fleet of minivans?
Because those specific minivans feature sliding doors and optimized internal space that perfectly match Waymo's autonomous ride-hailing needs.
Oh, I see. So the operational utility completely overrides the initial capital penalty.
Right. They aren't buying a depreciating asset, they're buying a tool that makes their business work.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? The actionable takeaway from these reports is clear. An EV is highly recommended if you have the ability to charge at home and your driving is predominantly local.
Yes, under those specific conditions, the total cost of ownership is where the EV absolutely wins out over gas.
It's about shifting your financial perspective from the sticker price to the life cycle, which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over.
Right.
We started by talking about the sugar rush of incentives and the very real fear of a bad investment. If the biggest hurdle to EV adoption isn't actually the battery technology, but our own psychological fear of buying the wrong thing,
Yeah, that fear is powerful.
what other major life or business transitions are we currently avoiding simply because we're using the wrong math to calculate the risk? Thank you so much for your time and attention in joining us on this deep dive.